much really, but it's going to be a real parliament where it will try to exercise its power over the executive, which I think is very, very important and has been lacking. And Islamists would be part of this, but they would have to perform, they'd have to deliver. And we don't really know whether they can do that. We know they're good at organizing, they're good at propagating and so on. So they're definitely a force to be reckoned with. And I'm also a little bit pessimistic that the Islamists, as we have already seen in Parliament, they are really no better than the National Democratic Party in the sense that they are just trying to serve their constituencies and not necessarily lay out really clear plans for a future Egypt. But they'll be forced to do that much more than hitherto. So I think Egypt will have a much more vital, vibrant political life, and that's very good. And then your question about the army. Yes, the army is of course the most worrying sign, especially as it has been behaving lately. I imagine, but I'm not in a predicting business, as I said, I imagine that the army will want civil government to take over, but they will have many red lines, including, sadly, probably on the budget itself. And if that happens, Egypt is not very far. If they cannot really discuss their budget, the income and the expenses of the state and so on, it's still going to be a bit of a travesty. But they'll fight over that. I'm sure about that. And the media are not going to accept this in the way it has before. I think abdel-samad is totally right that something fundamental has changed. People have broken a barrier. As we saw when people tore down Mubarak, as we see them do with Assad, when you see that, you know that something very, very big has happened precisely if you have lived in such a country. If you know what this means, you saw it in school books, you saw it in posters, you saw it on stamps, you saw it maybe 1,000 times every day. That people took the power to do that symbolically is something that they're never gonna forget. And it's very, very difficult for any new master to get that back in. I think this Bilal Fadl, he's right about that. It's not gonna go back. And we should beware here that it's not, we have this kind of attitude that if we are a bit pessimistic and skeptic, we are probably smart and wise, but that's not how you should think about this. That would be a big loss.
Okay, and now there is a chance for you to put questions. Yes, I will just come with a microphone.
And I will have to say, I'm the program of the festival, that it's a bit undemocratic, but we will probably only have time for one question, because we're a bit late. So,
okay.
So
it better be a good one.
Yeah, so who has a very good question?
Okay, that gentleman.
Wow.
I hope you think it's as good as I think. In the movie they talk about the state of Tahrir, self-organizing community, that somehow finds its solutions. And we've been talking about what happened, and I'd like to get a little understanding of what's coming, and also what the potential of Tahrir was. I'm not sure if it's exactly a Western-style democracy that the Tahrir Revolution or the Arabian Spring is bringing us. I'm curious what you people think about it.
You take it. I think you were there.
Well, the state of Tahrir was giving us all a great hope, because this is the Egypt I always wanted to live in. As the young lady was describing it, that's exactly the Tahrir I saw, that everybody is equal, and there is a sense of solidarity. But I'm realistic enough to know that what happens in the utopia, you cannot extend it for reality for so long time. It was a utopian time indeed. I will always be moved to think back about this time, but I know the challenges to come are much more huge than managing a square. But that was exactly what we need. It means there's no difference between the individuals, no matter what background they have. If you want to build a state on a democratic basis, many people mistake democracy with free elections. These are two different things. Free elections is one of the conditions, maybe, to democracy. But democracy for me means eliminating every obstacles for the individual to express itself and to live a self-determined life. And that's my problem with all of the parties which are coming from the religious ideological backgrounds. That they think democracy means the rule of the majority. But democracy, the core of democracy is the individual that should be able to defend itself against the majority. It's the minority that should not be scared just because another majority is ruling. So these are the things that we experienced in these. They mistakenly always say we spent 18 days in the Tahrir Square. It's not true. We spent only 15 days on the Tahrir Square because we took the square on the third day. So in these 15 days, in these 2 weeks, it was possible. There was no difference between man and woman. There was no difference between Copt and Muslim, old and young, until the old codes were coming back. Until the religious of all colors were coming back and deciding, like, no, this woman is not wearing a headscarf, this is a problem. This person wants to do this, this is un-Islamic. And this was becoming, for me, the real challenge now. The whole country has to renegotiate everything. The rule of man and woman, the rules of debates, who is having a right and who is not having a right. Now, many people are trying to reach a very fast consensus. I hate consensus. I think we should take the fight until the end. We should not just agree, okay, let's integrate Sharia in the law and everything will be fine. No, for me, Sharia is a Trojan horse that could destroy the whole process. But at the same time, and I'm coming to an end, at the same time, also this democratic game could be a trap for the Islamists, because now they have to play politics. Now they have to prove that they can fulfill the dreams of young people. I think without being a prophet, they can't, because they don't have the basics of it, respect of the individual and its rights.
And I think that on this very positive note, we will conclude. Somebody is trying to tell us something, so I would like to thank the audience for your interest and our two guests for their insights. Thank you very much.